Touchdown, Alabama! Isaiah Bond!
Take 5, it's time to reboot. Duck, goose, I don't need to choose.
Lillard, long range three, with 5 seconds to go. They gotta pay attention to the clock. Gillen. Unbelievable! No time left. Eagles win.
That one's drilled to left field. Isn't high enough. See ya! A walk-off grand slam, and the Yankees win. Judge hit 60, and the Yankees win in walk-off fashion.
And with 3 seconds left, Cleveland triggers in. James, 2 seconds, 1 second to the win. LeBron James delivers. That's a winner in Cleveland.
Hallelujah. Take 5, it's time to reboot. Doug. Who's winning? So I don't need to choose to the room.
And it's
I can never lose.
And it's picked up by Will Hill. Will Hill runs down the sideline. Hill's going to get blocked. Will Hill is going to win the game. And a blocked field goal. Got a mismatch. Walker on the knee with 4. Kemba Walker. Step back. Walker. Kemba does it again. UConn wins at the buzzer.
My mom taught me to move your feet while I was there. Now tap dance kicking ass like this FIFA.
What's up? Welcome to the new, the improved, the now live Fifth Take podcast. You've got myself, 64. You've got a ghost. He's still in Halloween mode. He's playing a ghost right now, Clifford Tarno. And you got my man, Chris Brown. No relation, no Rihanna, as you know. As you heard last week.
And I'm not doing the Breezy tour either.
It's a nice show. And it's a good correlation because the video that we have, the intro video, it's all about game winners, walk-offs, stuff like that. I don't know if you guys caught the Bengals game today. Is they played, they could score. That's obvious. But then they go out and they give up a long pass and they lose the game in the last minute or the last 30 seconds even. And it's ridiculous. What do you guys think about this?
Oh, dude, it's absolutely wild to me the way the Bears played this game today. The Bengals defense didn't do a bad job, in my opinion. I don't know. It was just in my opinion, they didn't do that bad of a job.
They lost.
I think Caleb Williams had a good game.
They lost in Cincinnati fashion to me. Honestly, this game, if Terrell Edmonds doesn't get touched, this game's over with like 2 minutes left because that would have been a pick 6. But I will say Joe Flacco, yeah, he's a dangerous man because he's just playing just to play. He's like, I've done everything. I only get one life to play football. I'm at the end of it. I just want to play ball, and that's what he did today. The Bears, I honestly think that now people are going to start to believe that Cole Kmet being on the field holds back Poston Loveland because once he had that concussion, that young man went off. And that young man went off. And it's just the way it is like you see defenders during this game, they look like they ran into brick walls when they went to tackle him. Jordan battled Geno Stone in the end zone when he tried to hit him and knock the ball loose, and he just looked at him like, what's going on, little man? The way the offenses were going off, especially T. Higgins, it's just, yeah, there was so many plays from that game that, wow. I was amazed. There was a whole lot of games where it was just like it was so close. There was even NFL history made today. So,
Yeah,
man, it's great to love football. I'll tell you that.
If you remember the old NCAA games, when you would play a good game or a close game, it would come up in the top corner. It would say instant classic number, and then it would put a number on there. That to me is what this game was today. It was two teams that are kind of still trying to find their way. It didn't really have any playoff implications, I don't think. They were just, like you said, Joe Flacco's out there just to play football. He doesn't care really what happens. He obviously wants to win, but he's just going out there doing his thing. I don't know. We kind of talked about it before we came on live here. They scored 38 last week, lost. They scored 42 this week and lost. I don't see because again, we talked about this the last episode as well. It's like Trey Hendrickson could be on the move. That they're already bad on defense.
God, I'm hoping so.
I don't know if he played because I know he's had that looming hip injury recently. So I don't know if he played today. That could be you might just be saying that. But it's one of those things where, we talk about what teams can do to fix and right the ship. I just think they have to score 50. Maybe we'll see that next week, a 50-point loss.
I honestly think they got to drop that GM. I mean, last year, at the end of last season, it just seems like the Bengals Nation, who they, I don't know, whatever. They were blaming their defensive coordinator for everything that was happening with the defense, and now they have a new DC, and it's the same old story. And when you look at it, it's the way this roster is built. You have like pivotal mistakes, and the thing about it is, again, it's another Jordan Battle mistake. Like I believe last year against Tennessee, what does he do? He gets a turnover. He's about to run in the end zone. He drops the ball, touchback. Then today, on the Colston Loveland play that ended the game, all he had to do was wrap up. What did he do? He tried to hit him hard with a shoulder, thinking it was going to knock him down. He spun off, knocked Geno Stone off track, so he couldn't help out with the tackle. And he has a 58-yard touchdown in the game that, honestly, it probably should have just came down to a field goal.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with that. Now,
but the Cincinnati defense is just putrid. They gave up like 30 plus points to the Jets. They gave up like 40 points to the Bears, and they're making every offense look like a top 10 offense. It's just, when you look at this team, you can't even say offense wins games, defense wins championships, because they can't even get a stop. And even if the offense is lighting the scoreboard up, the defense is letting the other offense do the same. So it just, you can't have games where it's constant shootouts week after week after week. It's not a recipe to win.
It almost seems to me like their offense is so efficient and it's scoring at such a high pace that it's putting the defense out there to give up these points. You know what I mean? We always talk about how the teams that can't sustain drives, their defense is out there for a long time and they get tired by the end of the game and they give up points. Like, for example, the Giants for the past couple of years, they can't sustain drives, even though their defense by name value is pretty decent. They're giving up a lot of yards and a lot of points in the second half. It's a similar effect, but a different avenue to get there. They're just scoring in 4 or 5 plays or having shorter drives and having long touchdown passes to T. Higgins, like you said, and their defense has to go right back out there, and they just came off of giving up a touchdown. It's just a recipe for disaster. Both sides, offense is looking good, but it's not helping the defense, even though they're scoring.
But that, I kind of have a little bit of pushback, because it's like they've been running the ball a little bit more lately than when they had Joe Burrow, and Chase Brown's been able to produce on the ground attack, and he's also been able to produce a little bit in the pass game, but running the ball kind of eats up a little bit more clock. I just think that roster building, that defense is too young. You don't really have a high profile. You don't really have a great player as of right now. One of your linebackers has been there for years, Logan Wilson. He's asking for a trade. It's because he's not getting enough reps. Then when the days after he asks for the trade, the young linebacker that's ahead of him gets hurt. And then I think he gets hurt too. So it's a culmination of things. That defense is just, honestly, that defense kind of just makes you want to burn it all down.
Well, let's flip the script. I kind of want to get your your talk on this one, since it's a division rival for you, the Steelers defense came to play. And I don't know if that was so much them coming to play or Daniel Jones reverting back to Danny Dimes, or should I say Indiana Jones reverting back to Daniel Dimes.
So the way I saw that game is now teams know a way to stop the Colts offense. You have to stop Jonathan Taylor.
Mm-hmm.
The 2 games they lost, which was today and I believe a couple weeks ago, Jonathan Taylor had under 100 yards rushing. He had 75 yards rushing in the first loss, and he had 45 today. And when you're able to stop the run, you're going to have to force Daniel Jones to be the reason they win the game, and that's very difficult. So, and then on top of that, when you look at the Steelers' defense compared to, especially the secondary, and compare it to the wide receivers on the Colts offense, they matched up pretty well size-wise. Because when you look throughout the season, you're seeing Michael Pittman making these amazing catches, jumping over DBs, muscling like DBs and stuff like that. Alec Pierce, he's making catches using his body to just like shield the defenders. And then you have Josh Downs, who's been showing up in certain situations throughout the games as well. And when you have a 6'2" Jalen Ramsey, when you have a 6'1" Joey Porter Jr., and you have Darius Slay, these guys match up well as far as body type, and you can't really outmuscle these guys because they have the length, they have the strength to be able to stand their ground against these big, tall, physical receivers. So it was kind of a bit of a style make fights kind of fit, because it's just like the Pittsburgh Steelers are built better. They're built in a way that they're better suited to take on the Colts. The one thing that threw me off was that offensive line playing as terrible as it did, though.
Yeah, I think that was kind of what that's always the key for generally any quarterback, unless you're very, very mobile, like unless you're a Lamar or even a JD5, and you can get out of there, even if the offensive line play is not great, you still at least have a chance. I think that's where Daniel Jones, we saw in New York for years, is he is mobile, but he's not like those guys. He's not nearly as mobile as Lamar and JD5. So he can move, but when it starts to break down, that's where you start to see him make the bad throws, make the bad reads, or quick reads that aren't the right reads. And I think that's what we saw today, was just they were getting pressure on him at an exorbitant rate, and he couldn't adjust fast enough. And I think that's always been his downfall, and I think we just saw it come out again. Cliff, you've seen this guy play for years in your division. What is it, the same thing today that you saw for years?
No, I think it's not the same thing. I mean, you had 6 turnovers in this game, guys. Actually, it was 4 fumbles, but they recovered one of them. So it was 6 turnovers total, 3 interceptions, 3 fumbles. I think it was just all around bad play by the team itself. I don't think the fact that they stopped Taylor had anything to do with it. It was the turnovers. Aaron Rodgers threw for like 1 touchdown. That's it. I mean, he didn't do anything stellar. It was absolutely won by that defense, but because of the turnovers, and that was it. You still had Danny Dimes with 342 yards through the air. He still had a touchdown. It was the 3 interceptions, the 3 fumbles. That's the reason why the Colts lost the game. Had nothing to do with the run game being stopped. I think it's not your typical Danny Dimes. I don't think it is. But you're right. He hasn't been flustered like this all season so
far. I gotta have a little bit of pushback there when you say about the run game, because when they're not running the ball and they're trying to like throw to like they're throwing the ball way more than they run, that's when he's got majority of his turnovers. Mm-hmm. So the run game has to be
majority of his turnovers.
It has to have a good dose of the run game.
They've had 4 turnovers the entire season until this game.
You can't be that guy that just pass the ball or win the game for you all the time.
4 turnovers through 8 games. 4 through 8 games. Today there was 6 turnovers today. So the games before this, you can't say that because he hasn't been an interception machine. They've had 4 turnovers before today. Today, they had 6. So it's
I'm
it's
not
not
saying
the
he's a
stop in the
turnover
rain game.
machine. I'm not saying he's a turnover machine, but what I'm saying in certain sequences, if they don't run the ball enough, defenses kind of they want Danny Dimes to try to beat them with his arm more than deal with Jonathan Taylor because of what the tear he's been on this year. So
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that when you can, if you're able either if the Colts stop the run or the opposing defense stops the run, and you start to get past Happy, that's when you start to see Danny Dimes start to make mistakes. He's not been this crazy turnover machine, but what I'm saying in certain sequences, he'll throw up a ball that he shouldn't be throwing up because it's like they're behind the chains and he's trying to make a big splash play. That's what I'm trying to say. There was a game, I believe, 2-3 weeks ago. He had 2 picks just for that same reason. And then they got the run game going. And then Danny Dimes we've been seeing this like majority of this season began to show up. So their offense, that run game has to go because of the simple fact that defense now doesn't know what's coming. They can't they can't drop safeties further back. They can't be like, okay, well, they're gonna pass. Let's have our best pass defenses schemed up. So when he makes these throws, he has to throw into tighter coverages and stuff like that. The defense can't predict where you're going to go because you have a Jonathan Taylor that's making your life miserable.
Yeah, I think there's a point to be made on both sides and what you're both saying. So Daniel Jones, as of right now, with today's game, has 6 interceptions. 3 of them came today when the run game was stifled, and 2 of them came in that other game that Chris is talking about where the run game was stifled. It's those games. So like Chris's point is a valid point. When you stifle the run game or at least slow it down and you force him to beat you with the arm and they know a pass is coming, it's a lot easier for them to read that defensively and force those mistakes, because generally you're going to get the mistakes out of Daniel Jones than you are out of Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor's not fumble. He's not a fumble guy. Generally, he does not fumble the ball that often. So I get the point. Sorry, I've been so scatterbrained today. I don't know what's going on. I get the point that Cliff is also trying to make is Daniel Jones still had a good game. You take those 3 interceptions out of it, or even take 2 of them out of it. With 1 interception, he had over 300 yards passing. Still had a great game. So I think on both sides, it's like both sides of the fence thing. I'm trying to play the mediator between you two. Is those interceptions happen for a reason, most likely, like Chris said, because of the run game, but you can't put that all on, oh, it's all Daniel Jones' fault. There was other mistakes in that game, being that half of those turnovers were fumbles.
I can honestly extend an olive branch. If he didn't throw that last pick in the 4th quarter, we might be talking about this game a whole lot differently.
Yeah. Did you guys happen to catch the Falcons and Patriots game by chance?
No, just recaps on that one.
Oh my God, that was an amazing game to watch. The Patriots, they did their thing. Drake London showed out today and showed that he is a number 1 receiver. I think a lot of people were kind of doubting it a little bit with his production. Who was it? Somebody said a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, that Drake London is similar to like a Julio Jones as far as how they use him on the Falcons. I don't understand it. I didn't understand the take. But I think today, I think they were looking at it from like a touchdown perspective. Is they were like, okay, he gets a lot of touchdowns. Julio Jones was, generally gets a good amount of their touchdowns when he was on the Falcons. I don't know. But Drake London, I don't know what it was. He was getting bullied by Christian Gonzalez all day. And then all of a sudden, something, I don't know, somebody whispered something in his ear. Maybe his girl called him and said, hey, if you keep letting him lock you up, I'm breaking up with you. Whatever it was, a switch flipped. This guy went absolutely berserk. You'll go watch the second half of that game, look at all of Drake London's catches, and you'll be like, how does he catch half of these balls?
I watched pieces of that game, and what I saw was, for a bulk of it, it's your quarterback taking advantage of a big receiver's catch radius, and especially in the red zone, it was just like, okay, I'll just put it at the top shelf. The little DBs won't be able to get it, and that's basically what you see. It's just hands up, snatching it out the sky. just amazing catches, and it's absurd, to be honest. He even made one of those catches on Christian Gonzalez, who actually played a great first half. It's just that second half, it was just like it was honestly like Michael Penix was like, look, I'm gonna put it up there, and you the only one that's gonna have to bring it down. That's about it. Because I think he had a big catch earlier in the game, and he dropped it because of the defense of Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
And what you seen was two teams that began to ball out, and then when it came to that second half, that Falcons defense started to generate some plays to have some impact in the game. The forced fumble being one of them, but Michael Penix started to get it going with Drake London, and you seen Drake May after that fumble go, okay, I got to remind y'all who the hell I am, and he started to ball out as well. Like these two teams, they put on a great show. That game was amazing.
The one thing that annoys me, and this actually has really nothing to do particularly with this game, is the Patriots, they spend a draft pick on TreVeyon Henderson. And I'm talking with a couple of Patriots fans about this previously. They don't use him, or very rarely use him. They got Ramondre. Okay, but Ramondre just got injured. Okay, Antonio Gibson's out for the season. And then in the first half, I think it was 7 carries to an undrafted free agent that they brought in and 6 carries to TreVeyon Henderson. When are you going to use this guy? Like, all right, now looking at the stats, at the end of the game, he ended up having more carries. He had a better averages. He had a better game. But he should be your workhorse. He should be your number one guy. I'm not understanding why they wasted a draft pick on this guy, on this kid, if they're not going to use him. I just don't get it.
What do you think, Cliff?
Man, I'm sitting here actually still watching this this Washington Seattle game right now. Like 31-7 at a half.
Yeah.
It's like, wow. And then I'm sitting there watching some of the highlights from the Jags Raiders game. Raiders should have pulled out. That was crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
Lawrence didn't throw a single touchdown. Geno Smith threw 4 touchdowns. They should have won that game. That should have been the Raiders game all day long. And when you look at the numbers, it's like, I don't know. It was a really close game, 367 yards, 331 yards. But man, the Raiders just looked better. So, and you had the Jacksonville kicker set a new record, 68 yards is the longest field goal now.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. And
he's the same one that hit the
top.
70-yarder in preseason, right?
Yeah.
Him Little or something like that. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now it counts.
Yeah.
No.
That's
He now has his book. He now has his name in the book. 68 yards is the longest field goal.
I will say for weeks and weeks and weeks, I've been saying I'm on the Jags train. I really thought Liam Cohen was going to go in there and kind of rejuvenate that offense. And it seemed like that the first couple of weeks. They looked good. They weren't making mistakes. The defense was playing great, which ultimately, if you were to take a step back, that's what was keeping them in games. And they really weren't playing at such a high level on offense. It just looked that way because of how the defense was playing. I got to take 1 foot.
Garbage.
Yeah, I got to take 1 foot, at least 1 foot off the train right now. I might be jumping off by next week. We'll see what that brings. But go ahead.
I'll say this: that coach Liam Cohen, he's got a run game.
Mm-hmm.
That overtime, I don't think Trevor Lawrence threw the ball. They ran the ball all the way down the field for the touchdown. Like they used Tootin, the rookie from Virginia Tech, and they used Travis Etienne that whole drive, and the Raiders couldn't
the
stop
opponent
it.
45.
They couldn't really stop it for real.
They ran into the opponent's 45 on the kickoff. What are you talking about? I mean, shit, they only had to go 45 yards for a touchdown.
Still, but you have they basically just put they told the Raiders what they were doing. They're like, look, we're gonna take out our tight ends. We're gonna put 3 offensive linemen. in the tight end spot, and we're gonna run the ball. Stop it. And they really did it. Outside of Max Crosby, no one really made a play behind the line of scrimmage. So the run game, their run game is another one where it's like they gotta have it because of the simple fact that Trevor Lawrence can have inconsistencies with this pass game, doesn't really throw well with anticipation, and his arm can get him in trouble sometimes. He throws costly picks, but when you're able to run the ball, sometimes it alleviates all them things that are going on with your quarterback.
Yeah, I think a good point to be made also is you did not have Travis Hunter. I think in the games where Travis Hunter does play, because whatever's going on with Brian Thomas Jr., he hasn't been the same. I don't know if it's just he hasn't caught up with his offense or whatever between last year and this year. He hasn't had the same production, I should say. He plays very similar to how he did last year, but he hasn't had the same production in this new Liam Cohen offense. And so I think without Travis Hunter there today, that was also – I don't think it would have been necessarily close. I'm not saying that Hunter is a game changer, but he adds another dynamic to that offense. You really have two guys to guard at least at that point.
I also think he threw the ball to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He threw the ball to 9 different people.
If you weren't looking at it, how many of those guys would you know by? 3 down to Diami Brown, and after that, I don't even know the first names of the next 6, besides Tootin, who had.
Yeah.
I think he threw the ball.
And Thomas Jr. in Washington. That's the only ones I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think, like I said, I think having Travis Hunter there, it just adds another flavor. It's like having the new soda machines they got at Wendy's. You can add your different flavors. That's what Travis Hunter does. He's like a gadget guy. He's going to get you yards whether you pass it to him behind the line of scrimmage, 5 yards up the field, or all the way down the field. He's going to get it going. But speaking of rookies and speaking of run game, since we were talking about the run game, I do want to ask you guys this. So I was looking at the Giants-Niners game today. It's a close game. It's a 10-point game. The Giants' leading rusher was Jackson Dart. I personally feel that this is a completely different game if Cam Skattebo was in that game. I just – like we talked about this before. That youth movement in New York, they're doing something. Do I think they're going to win 8 games? No. Did I think they were going to win 8 games even before that? No. But I think 4 or 5 was a solid assessment. I think now with the Skattebo injury, you don't lose a lot in the run game because I think Tracy actually is probably the better of the runners. He doesn't run with the same crazy head down, run people over. But as far as running skill, he runs just as well. It's the energy. I don't know. You played football, Chris. You probably had a guy like this on your football team. Just the energy guy. You know, he plays well, and then the whole team plays well behind him because he just brings the energy.
Because when you can run through a motherfucker's face, that'll hype anybody up. You know what I'm saying? And that's been Cam Skattebo's the business card this first half of this season. He provided that spark. Like it's one of those things. You have that one guy when you break the huddle, he just all of a sudden just howls like real loud. He was that dude in that locker room, and they don't have that now.
Yeah, in the game, but I think it's a lot different of a game at the end of it. You know, game maybe they're in position to win at the end.
What's going on?
Honestly, it stayed pretty even. Still hear me?
Or is this really?
Oh,
I can't hear him. He's breaking up.
oh God.
I still got you. I hear you.
Yeah, you're kind of breaking up for me. It's everything's kind of paused. Let me come right back.
How about now? Can you hear me now? Oh, what the heck? Oh, come
All
on.
right, everybody good? I still can't hear anybody.
Thanks, Chris. I'm here.
There we go. There we go. All right, everybody's back. Everybody's moving.
Clifford, can you hear me?
And now everybody's frozen again. Somebody. Maybe it's my phone.
Sorry, gentlemen. Had to pause myself there for a minute.
All right. Are we all back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know
I
what
don't know.
happened.
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry about that, everybody. Technical difficulties. I think that was on my end. I think we're all set up. But yeah, where were we? Cam Scatterbo and the Giants.
Yeah, how he provides energy for that team to be successful. I mean, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I definitely think that you could see it today that it's almost like a win data sales type thing. I think Jackson Dart does a very similar thing from the quarterback position, but having both of them, you know, they're the vocal points on the offense as it stands right now with Malik Neighbors out. I think that you saw it today. It's like, yes, they put up 24 points. Yes, they had a pretty decent game, but the rest of the team doesn't kind of follow suit. I think it's almost like they need to revamp something in New York that's going to, you know, follow that culture, whether that is get rid of Dable. I know that's been a big thing. It's fire Brian Dable, get somebody else in there. I don't necessarily think that Dable is the final issue for them. I don't think firing Brian Dable, they're still a 2-3 win team. I do think that maybe just putting him in charge of the offense, getting a different guy in there, a culture guy at the head coach position, which I don't think it will see that in our lifetime, because how often do you see a head coach get essentially demoted to an offensive coordinator and want to stay with that team? So I don't think necessarily something that we'll see.
Did y'all realize they only ran the ball 21 times and still had 117 yards rushing on 21 rush attempts?
But I think that was mostly Dart, though. Like
It
most
was
of
like
it was from
50.
like
Dart was 56 yards, and the secondary runners, Stingray or whatever his name is, Singletary, was 49 or some shit like that. Tracy I think Tracy had less than 10.
Yeah. That offense, it looked like it's all on Jackson Dart's shoulders, and he's not ready for it yet.
Oh, I agree with that statement. I agree with that statement fully. I 100% believe Scatterboo definitely helps him in more ways than three. You know what I mean? I think he gives him somebody to feel comfortable with, gives him that security blanket, gives him that rusher that is just running over people, and then at the next point, it just, I don't know, gives him that friend on the field that he can be hyped with, right? Because we all know that's a difference. Having a hype man is a complete difference in your game of success or failure.
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Yeah. Speaking of hype, I don't want to get too excited too early, but the Panthers have won another game. They're like 4-1 in the last 5 weeks. Again, I don't want to get too excited because they're not winning. You know, some of the games are winning when Rico Dowdle was running for 200 yards or 200 all-purpose yards. Like, those were good games. This game was a sloppy game against the Packers. It did not look good. They got Dowdle going again, which I love to see. I really hope that guy gets a chance, whether it's with the Panthers or somewhere else, to be a number one full-time back somewhere. But
I agree with that. By the way, I think Rico Dowdle needs to be their number one back. I don't think there should be anybody else in that position right now. Rico Dowdle's proven himself already all the way through week 8, week 9 now, that he can and should be their number one receiver or number one back.
Oh, definitely. I think Rico Dowdle needs to, get a real estate agent, get a nice house, and just set up to be shop for like a good about 5-6 years, because the way he's running this year, it's exactly what the Panthers needed. Before that, they were very inconsistent on offense, and he provides that stability as the way he runs. It provides some stability as far as like having some identity on the offense. They can be more of a ground and pound team now because of the way he runs the ball, and it kind of makes it a little bit easier on Bryce Young. I don't really think he's found his way at all. Like, I don't really think he's that guy, but the running game kind of takes care of that because of the fact that you can still stay on schedule and move the chains. But what I was surprised was how that defense played, because they were able to keep that Packers offense from getting going. And we've all seen it throughout, I'd say, these past 2-3 years. Once Matt LaFleur, Jordan Love, and that offense start getting in rhythm, it is extremely difficult to get them out. I know the Tucker Kraft injury kind of played a role in that, but that Panthers defense definitely deserves a huge amount of credit for the win too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can definitely agree with that. I was just looking over some of the stats here. Somebody here said it. I'm not going to name names. Somebody on this panel at one point in time said the Panthers were getting second in that division. I don't know who it was. I don't know. And then point to be made is everyone knows that whole what is it? It's like Ohio State wins the national championship. The Panthers play the Jaguars week 1 the next upcoming year, and then they make the Super Bowl. They did it with DeLong. They did it with Cam Newton. It just so happens that this is the third time that it's happening. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say they're making the Super Bowl, but I do think they're surprising a lot of people this year with how they're playing. And it's really, I think all of us can agree, we all said this before the season, is their success was going to be based off the evolution or the growth of Bryce Young, and it really hasn't been the evolution or growth of Bryce Young. It's been the run game and the defense that's kind of been holding them steady. And if Bryce Young has a really good game, then they're beating the better teams. I think that he's just a caveat to, can they beat the good teams, or can they beat the playoff teams, or can they just beat the Saints and the Falcons every once in a while, whoever else they play this year?
Let me get something straight here. I know for a fact, I said that they're going to finish second in their division. That was me saying that for sure, because I told everybody Atlanta ain't going to do shit. Now, if am I mistaken? Is that's the same division, right? That's
I feel
the
like
same
I'm
division.
left out.
Same division there, because
Yeah,
I had the Buccaneers for the NFC South. I think that's yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
You guys did. You guys were right. I was
He's
wrong.
going back and looking at his notes. He's going back and looking at his notes. I said Carolina was going to do well, and that Atlanta wasn't going to do worth a shit. And everybody's like, "Oh no, Penix, la 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 la, B.J. Robinson." I don't give a shit.
There it is. You won't be able to see it.
Can't.
This is why I write everything down. You can't see it because of the glare, but right there, that's Bucks number 1. That's Panthers number 2.
The thing about it is with Atlanta, their problem is kind of tricky. It's just they just can't seem to put it all together. They have one of the best backs in the league. They have a quarterback in his second year. He's showing some flashes. They have one of the best defenses in the league when it comes against the pass. But they're having a losing record. It's just, I don't know, man. If I'm Raheem Morris right now, I have a headache because it's like, what do I got to do to be above 500?
Yeah, it's like one week they come out, they look like the best team in the NFL. They hang 35 plus points on somebody. They hold the opposing quarterback to under 200 yards passing. Bijan is catching the ball. Bijan's running the ball. Drake London has a good game, but that's the problem. The games that Bijan is doing well, you do not see anything out of Kyle Pitts or Drake London or anybody else on that offense. And then the games that, like today, where Drake London had a great game, you did not really see that much out of Bijan Robinson. I think that is a little bit of a testament to the Patriots defense, not to really dive back into that game. But if I was a betting man, and I'll let you in on a little secret, I am a little bit of a betting man. I took the Bijan under today because the Patriots have not given up. I think it's like a 50-yard rusher almost the whole season, or 75-yard rusher, something like that. Some pretty decent number defensively. They don't give up a lot of rush yards. But yeah, if the Falcons could ever put everything together in one game for a stretch of 3 to 4 games, they would win 3 to 4 games in a row. That's just the problem with the Falcons. They just can't put it together consistently, game to game to game.
You know, I don't want to hear about anybody else's problems when my team's got problem of their damn own.
You got Kaiir Elam. That's your problem.
Oh, my God. I can't stand that. Just please. Go get some high school kid.
The bigger problem is your defensive coordinator. That's your bigger problem. Your roster is still made in the form of being able to attack the quarterback and force quick throws so them ball hawks you have for corners can jump routes. That's what your team is molded to be. It is not molded to be a sit back, drop 7, and let the pass rush just do its thing on its own while being in zone coverage. I don't think Dig and Bland's best thing is zone coverage. They're guys that are block man and love to be aggressive and jump route.
Here's the other fucking thing about it is the fact that if you notice the first 3-4 weeks, our run stopping defense was actually doing its fucking job. And then I think Matt Eberflus got tired of hearing people say, well, we're not getting to we're not getting pressure. We're not getting pressure. We're not getting this. We're not getting that. And then now all of a sudden, okay, we get pressure and sacks, but we have no fucking run defense again. And then he tries to go back to the run defense, and we had no defense.
Oh, man.
Our defense was so bad that our offense didn't show up at all. Like, the Cowboys' offense went from being the number 1 offense in the fucking league to being 35th. We're going to go ahead and go with 35th.
So you're basically saying there's like 3 college teams that have better offenses than the Cowboys after that last week.
Jesus Lord. Can I just bring Texas A&M in for a substitution one time?
That would be
damn.
But this is the problem. This is the problem that comes with a Matt Eberflus the first year. When he doesn't have that premier rusher, it makes it looks like the defense is a shell of itself of what it should be. And
Again, I
that's what
agree
I've
with
been
you,
warning you about.
but I'm listen. Things on the defense will change once we have Overshown back in. It will change. So hopefully we're not too dead in the water, and hopefully we do something before this fucking trade deadline ends, because we need a top 10 defensive end. Right now we don't have a top 10 defensive end, in my opinion.
Yeah, you need a game record. That's what you need.
Right?
That's
I need
exactly what
somebody
you need.
that's like. So I think the pickup of Clowney was a fucking great pickup. Love the dude, and he's on that left side. But I don't think we have anybody that is going to be able to help him in the sense of being being on that guard that he can depend on to cause havoc right beside him.
I think when it comes, and I agree with you. I just think of it differently. When it comes to that, when you have a Jadeveon Clowney, when he starts to take over on that line and cause some trouble, what happens is they're going to slide their protection his way. And when that
Right,
happens, the other guys, they have their one-on-one matchups. They're not winning them consistently enough to cause an
100%.
issue with the line. So you don't really even need a legit game record. You just need someone that when it gets to their one-on-one matchups, they can win. So now the offense doesn't know, who am I going to slide the protection to? Because if Clowney gets one-on-one, he's probably going to win. And if I slide the Clowney when he starts to act up, then this other guy can pose a problem. They just need a potential. They just need a guy. Stopping the run, I understand it, but when you get to third down, they just need a guy that just goes, "Hey man, you see that ball on the ground? When it moves, get the quarterback," and that's what he's able to do. They don't really have that right now, and that's what's making the secondary look bad. That's what's making the zone coverages look like everybody is just sitting around looking terrible because the front four is supposed to rush the quarterback to make throws in windows he has no business making throws into.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Speaking of terrible defenses, that's not a good caveat, because once I say the team that I'm going to say, you guys aren't going to agree with me. But in my opinion, the most inconsistent good team out there, the Denver Broncos. Barely squeaked out a win against the Texans today. A game in which CJ Stroud left early. I'm not going to lie. This is one game that I did not watch today. So I did not know this until just now. I looked at the stats. And Davis Mills comes in, has a decent, just over 50% completion percentage. He has a decent game, no touchdowns, no interceptions, doesn't make any mistakes. Typical Davis Mills fashion. I personally believe that if CJ Stroud stays in this game and stays healthy, I'm not sure what the injury was. I'm sure someone in the comments can tell us. I truly do believe that if CJ Stroud stays in this game, the Texans just
take a concussion.
Yeah, CJ Stroud got hit pretty hard on a run. Yeah, he's got a concussion.
Okay. I thought it was something with the ribs, because I probably heard it wrong on the broadcast. I was like, and I thought it was a concussion too, but like, bro, that game was ridiculous. That game, it looked like Texans was going to run away with it. Mm-hmm. Because of the fact that their defense was giving Bo Nix problems. But when CJ Stroud went out, that offense went so flat. It's like when you have that one soda, when you keep opening it too much, and then now you take a sip and all you just taste is just like it. Yeah, that's what it was like watching that offense with Davis Mills in there. It was terrible. Like it really gave Denver a chance to win the game. They didn't even. I think they missed a field goal and that was it. Like nah. CJ, you got to protect yourself better, bro. The offense depends on it, because you can't be out of another game, not with Davis Mills and like as your backup. No.
Yeah, Kaime Fairbairn goes 5 for 6 this game. Was the only offense for the Texans today. Any touchdown wins that game. Any type of offensive production wins that game. And the reason I say that the Broncos are like the most inconsistent good team is because they are. It seems to me they're on the trajectory to make the playoffs, if not win that division. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know what I see. Maybe it's because I'm a Chiefs fan and I just am not a fan of the Broncos. But they just don't seem to be able to. Again, like the Falcons, they can win the games, but they don't seem like they put it together. They're still winning the games. 18-15 is a win. It's just not a great win. It's not something that they play that game against any playoff team, they're losing. So I don't know what to make of them. I think they're going to fall into the same trap they fell into last year, which was dominant defense in the first half, and essentially Nick Bonito and anybody else that was getting sacks on that team last year fell off in the second half. But that's just my opinion.
Cliff, I'm going to apologize before I say this. The best game they played was against the Dallas Cowboys. That was, in my opinion, their best game.
Oh, you're not wrong. I mean, the Broncos went into Dallas, fucking put an ass whooping to them.
And I think that's the only perfect game they played.
Of it.
And that's the problem with the Broncos. Like, you don't know. My bad. I'm trying not to cut you off. This whole day, it's like I'm like doing the tango for the first time. It's just when it comes to the Denver Broncos, you don't know which Denver Broncos you're gonna get. Is it the Bo Nix that's gonna show out, or is it the defense is gonna carry the rest of the game, and you just have to kick field goals to win and probably maybe score a touchdown? Like, that's the thing that we're seeing from the Broncos. And I honestly am beginning to think that when you have one of the best defenses in the league the year before in any category, these teams start to study the film and they start to study what the defensive coordinator like to call, what they use with certain pieces on the field. That time off in the off season, they figure out what these defenses do well, and they try to prevent them from being able to do that. And I honestly think that's what's happening. The Denver defense is looking like half a shell of itself, but they love to show up sometime. It's like, come on, man. Are you going to be in the game, or are you going to be out the game? Which one is it?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I mean, I was just looking back at some of their games. You've got a Colts game where they lose by 1, which, if you remember that in week 2, was just a back and forth game. They looked like up to snuff. Even with the loss, they looked like a pretty solid team. Bo Nix throws an interception. They can't really hold the Daniel Jones or Jonathan Taylor, but they just did enough to be close. But then you go and look at the rest of the games. Sorry, I've got to click through these. They have, if you remember the Giants game from a couple weeks ago, they had to get the ball back in the last 30 seconds to go down and kick a field goal, which, testament to them, yes, they went on and did that against the Giants, though. The Giants are not a playoff team. There's no reason that game should have been as close as it was. And I think that's
hang on. Don't forget, also in that game, you had Bo Nix run like fucking 3 touchdowns also to get the score back up to that point right before that.
Yeah, throughout the second half.
Like, and on top of that, in the fourth quarter, I think it was 19-3. And to be honest, if Jackson Dart doesn't throw that pick, that game, if they score a touchdown on that drive, that game is over, because that pick gave them, like, shifted the momentum for them to even, go on that tear that they did in the fourth quarter. I think they had an NFL record for, I think, most points scored in the fourth by a single team. So that's what I'm saying. It's like there's really no consistent portion when you look at the Denver Broncos. Like, one day you'll get Nick Bonito going on. I think the only consistent thing about the Denver Broncos is the defensive tackle. Like, that's the only real consistent one. He's going to cause problems on that line every game. But it's like the pass defense, the pass rushers on the outsides, or even the offense, they have games where they don't show up.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if we saw this comment. I think Peter makes a good point as well, is similar to the Broncos. The Packers, considered to be a top team, considered to be a championship contender in some people's eyes, again, they don't consistently play at that high level. And yes, they're still winning games. Their record reflects that they're winning games, but the games that they are winning are not pretty. It's like, I don't know. I think the best way to put it is something similar, like you get a little too tipsy at the club, you bring home this girl, you think she's looking real fine, and you wake up in the morning and she's a 4 or 3, and you're like, oh, what the? I still smashed, but she's a 4 or 3, so I still got the win, but it wasn't pretty. You know, I think that's the best way to sum up some of these teams, this team season so far, is you still got the W, but at the end of the day, she had 14 moles across her forehead. She was probably balding a little bit. She had armpit hair, maybe a super feminist. I don't know. Whatever you're not into, that's what she was. Again, I'm not saying feminist or feminism is bad. I'm just saying some people aren't into the super feminists.
I'll say this: the Packers' offense is more like roller skating. We've all seen that movie ATL, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when they're skating and they're on rhythm and everybody's on and everything's gelled together, they all on the same page. It looked like poetry in motion. But let one of them motherfuckers fall, it looks like a fucking crash site. And that's what the Packers offense does. Like in certain games, if one player is having trouble with anybody on that defense, let's just say Myles Garrett, right? He's having the tackles are having trouble with Myles Garrett. That offense you're wondering like, hey man, y'all put up like 30 something points on the team before, and you struggling to get 13 now. Like that's what's going on with the Packers. When they're thrown off rhythm, it looks like they never rehearsed anything before. But when they are in rhythm, they are extremely tough to stop. It gets to a point where it looks like just 7-on-7. Like that's what it looks like. Because the line's blocking, Jordan Love's wheeling and dealing, Josh Jacobs is running, these receivers are making catches and they're breaking tackles and trying to get more yardage. And then they reach a team that can hit, that can knock you off rhythm, and they look like a bumbling mess.
You guys remember the old game, Crack the Whip? You go down to the skating rink and everyone would hold on to each other. That was me. I was the end guy that always would fall first. And because I'm so big, I'm pulling everyone down with me.
Oh, man.
That was for sure me. I remember specifically, if anyone in here, anyone watches this episode or is in here right now, there's a place up in Northeast Pennsylvania called Bushkill Park. They had an old school skating rink. That's where we used to go in middle school and high school, or middle school trips. And yeah, if anyone back from my middle school remembers that, don't make fun of me. But I was very clumsy. I hadn't grown into my body until college.
Oh, man.
Oh, man. All right, we're getting to the end of the show here. We'll real quickly touch on this Seahawks and Commanders game. It is looking like a blowout. 31-7 right now. It's like Sam Darnold is the Oprah of this game, and he's giving everybody a touchdown. We've got two first-time touchdown scores in their NFL career. We got 2 to Torrey Horton so far. It's looking like a shellac, and we'll see if they can turn it around in the second half. I guess this is about that time. Get the hand warmers out. Get the Bunsen burners out. It's time for the hot takes. Anybody want to start us off?
I'm gonna be a bit of a fan here. Baltimore somehow manages to win the AFC North and make the playoffs and be the 15 after starting 1-5 to make the postseason.
I can definitely see that. I do. It is a hot take, but I'm going to just agree with you completely. We talked about that. Me and you and Chance, we talked about this before on TikTok when they were having their issues with the injuries and all this and that. And to me, it was the team. Yes, they're losing a lot of key pieces, but as far as the team goes, you get a couple of those key pieces back and you start winning games. It's almost going to be like like a snowball effect. Starts real small. You get Lamar back. Then you get, Roquan or Kyle Hamilton, whoever's coming back next. And then it starts snowballing. You get more and more of the team back, and then they're just going to start winning games. And just division's still wide open. I think the biggest competition is your Steelers.
And then you got to give a shout out to EDC. Oh, go ahead, Cliff. My bad.
Hot take is going to be the fact that if the Cowboys can get a true defensive end, a prominent defensive end, by trade deadline, Overshown comes back, the defense for the Cowboys will make a huge turnaround, and we will win out all but one game for the rest of the season, and that includes the Chiefs.
Yeah, you get Overshown back for that game. I think that's it's projected first game back. The Thanksgiving game.
21 days started last week, so possibly the week before that.
Yeah. I mean, if he gets a game under his belt before the Chiefs game, I see that game being a little, I mean, you're still going to have some defensive struggles, but he does solidify that defense a lot in the linebacker position.
It's not might be safe if we get.
Hold on, Cliff.
Yeah, we had trouble hearing that last part, like hearing what you said.
Yeah, if you could. Oh, there he goes. I figured that.
Probably just restarting. He makes a very valid point. They need Overshown. They're going to need him because he loves to run the ball, and the way they ran the ball today, even though they lost the game, they're going to need everyone they can get to stop that run game, because that run if they don't have that run game, like, I don't know what we saw when they had to throw the ball more to come back from behind. It didn't really look. What's the word? It didn't really look sharp. It was a lot of improvisation from Patrick Mahomes, and his arm, he can throw it anywhere on the field from any position, getting hit, being parallel to the ground, whatever. And those receivers, he has a lot of speed, so they can all stretch the field, and it makes it difficult to cover. It's just when they're unable to run the ball, and you have those ends being able to pin those ears back, it kind of shows that offenses can be kind of exposed in some sense. That you can get a lot of hits on that quarterback. So I think the Cowboys need that run stopping version of their defense, and they got to be in their best form for that game.
Yeah, I do think I agree with both of you. Is that he makes a good point? Is you make a move on the defensive side of the ball, which has been your biggest issue all year, and you right the ship and you correct what has been wrong, the offense is up to snuff. The offense has been doing what they need to do. I think that they could potentially win out. I'd have to look at their schedule again, but I think the one game he's talking about is probably an Eagles game. I don't think they've played them twice yet. They just played them that one time.
Yeah, they played.
Yeah, they only played them like what week? Was it
week one?
It was early. Yeah,
it was week one.
I will say similar to Cliff's but on the opposite, on the other conference. And we talked about this last episode, if the Bills do not get the weapon that they need on offense, get that downfield threat, they are going to lose a couple more games, and they could potentially lose that division to the Patriots. I think the Patriots right now are playing damn near close to being one of the best teams in football, just the way that they're playing. I don't think they have necessarily the name value. I think they do need to make a move. They've opened up some cap space. I think that if they make a move and the Bills do not, they will win that division. I just something inside me is saying this team with Mike Vrabel, having his history there, the way the defense is playing, and the way that Drake May himself, I'm not going to say the whole offense, but Drake May himself is playing, that's going to carry them a lot further than Josh Allen could carry that Bills defense with no downfield threat.
I'll be honest. I don't think they even need to make a move. Not right now.
I do think that they opened up cap space. I think they opened up the cap space to make a move. I don't think they need to.
Yeah.
But if they ended up getting one of those top 3 rushers that's out there, whether it be Crosby or Myles Garrett or Hendrickson, I'm not sure if they're looking into that or if they're maybe looking into somebody else. But they definitely opened up cap space by letting go of the Belichick era guys.
They let go of Kyle Duggar and Keon White. And to be honest, I honestly think they're kind of one of the more complete teams in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of scary because this is Mike Vrabel's first year. And they made a ton of moves in the offseason, and they seem to be panning out very well. I think they have what it takes to beat the Bills. And right now, I believe they're in the division lead. Like they if the playoffs were to start today, they would have a home. They would have a home game right now, and the Bills would be taking like a wild card slot. So right now, I gotta see the Bills being able to stretch the field vertically in order for them to make more room for Josh Allen to do more Josh Allen things. Right now, it doesn't look like that. I mean, they're trying to prevent him from putting a superhero cape on, but sometimes you got to have a little piece of the material, and just for those defenses to kind of be scared a little bit. I don't think I think they're scared of the team as a whole, like because of what they can do. But outside of that, it's like if we're able to do A, B, we'll be able to slow this team down. And we've seen that with the Falcons game. We've seen that with the Saints game. And I think that they have a weakness that's glaring, but stretching the field will alleviate all of that.
Yeah. Ultimately, I think that's their biggest issue. Their defense in the beginning of the season for the Bills was a little bit of an issue. I think getting Hairston back helped them out a little bit. They obviously won today against the Chiefs, which I do believe a lot of people think is a playoff team. So they are winning games that are big games that they have to win if they want to be taken seriously. They desperately need something. It could be something as simple. We talked about last week, Rashid Shaheed, not necessarily a big name guy. Dude averages like 20 yards per reception every single year, at least 15. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a big name. It could be somebody like an MVS. It really doesn't have to be a big name. It just needs somebody that can get down the field fast and, like you said, stretch that defense back. But I think that's going to be it for us. Clifford texted me. He said he lost connection. So we're hitting the hour and 8-minute mark. We had a little bit of technical difficulties for a couple minutes there. So about an hour show. Shout out to Pete in the comments. He's always a great guy. Go check him out on TikTok. He puts a lot of good information out there. He gets, I don't know what app or whatever he uses, he gets updates every second of every single day. So if you want to get your news updates and you don't want to follow all those accounts on Twitter, go check out Pete Sports Desk on TikTok. That's going to be it for us. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but the 5th take. Catch us on Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll all be here. We'll get some basketball with Stino, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.